So the book is now a movie! Welcome to, hey, it's Tim from the Annapolis Valley. 5 Feet Apart is an awesome story about two young lovers that fall in love in the hospital, and the coolest part, it's actually in a movie, is that they have cystic fibrosis. That's actually not the cool part because they can never actually be together. And when I grew up with cystic fibrosis, I actually could put my arms around my friends that had CF, but we sadly didn't know that it was really quite dangerous to do that. So about 20 years ago, it was understood scientifically that we should not be together. But it doesn't keep your hearts from being together, and these two are really trying to get them together, but they're not allowed to be together. So the story is all about having cystic fibrosis and surviving that, and just trying to love each other. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna see what it's like, and we'll give you a little follow-up after the movie. Wow. So, to tell you the truth, it's actually been 3 days since my wife and I went to see 5 Feet Apart. First of all, thank you, Justin Baldoni, for directing this amazing story. 5 Feet Apart is definitely a story that, if you don't know anything about cystic fibrosis, or maybe you think you know it from a distance, or maybe you are living with it, or living with somebody that has it, it's really worthwhile going to see this story, because it really, finally, we have a incredible vehicle to talk about cystic fibrosis, what it's like down and dirty. And I think the movie really does a great job of representing what most of us cystics go through. It is a Hollywood movie. It's not a documentary. Keep that in mind. It is a love story, and it's a beautiful love story. It's I don't want to do any spoilers, so I'm not going to talk too much about the story, but what I'm most thankful for is the fact that there's now a film that really shows a really big, huge chunk of what cystic fibrosis, the illness itself, is about, what it's like for those perhaps waiting for a lung transplant, for those who are scared about a lung transplant. I was always scared about getting to that point. I've lived kind of 3 lives in my 51 years of cystic fibrosis. Yep, 51 years old. Pretty proud of that. But before I was 30 years old, I was allowed to go see all my friends. I was allowed to put my arms around my friends with CF. I even went to CF camp. We all went to camp together. That's not allowed anymore. 20 years ago, it was scientifically proven that it's really quite dangerous for us to be around each other. Hence the reason for the movie. So hats off for somebody finding that this is such an important story to share. So yeah, so I grew up being able to be friends with my CF friends, real friends, like in touch. So anyone who's 30 years and under doesn't actually know probably what that's like, because we've been told that that's super dangerous, and it is. I've also lived a third life of being a recipient of Kaleido, to be able to breathe as well as I do, and feel like I might just have a worthwhile life ahead of me, not worthwhile, my life's been very worthwhile, but a life that can be as long as regular folk. I feel I'm a pretty regular folk too, but I obviously have this pretty nasty illness that has always kept me thinking that that might not happen. So that's also another big part of living with cystic fibrosis, is not knowing the future. But the main focus of this story is about not being together. And believe me, it really, really, truly sucks. There's no other word for it. I have CF people out there I wish I could put my arms around. I know a little 7-year-old little girl that I can't even give her a high five. I dream for the day where I can give her a high five. Because when you share an illness, it's really great to have that support group around you. Thank God we have things like online relationships, I guess, but there is nothing better than putting your arms around somebody that shares the same heartache that you do. And in cystic fibrosis world, we simply don't have that. We're not, quote unquote, allowed to do that, because it can be very deadly for some of us. I actually have the same bacteria as the boy in the story. So my recognition of what he goes through is pretty palpable. So sitting in that movie theater next to my lovely wife, Agatha, was quite an emotional roller coaster, if you will. The story is really great. The actors are fantastic, and Justin Baldoni, the director, did a fantastic job in capturing a little bit of what life's like with cystic fibrosis behind the scenes. They don't hold back anything, and I am very grateful for that, because the dark side of CF is pretty bloody lousy. I look forward to your comments if you care to. Everybody has their own opinion. That's just mine. 5 feet apart. Great story. Great awareness for cystic fibrosis. From Wilmot, Nova Scotia, I'm Tim Vallillee, Captain Kaleido. Have a great one. Love someone and put your arms around them.